This guided sleep meditation is for nights when you're tired in ways sleep alone hasn't touched. Here, nothing needs to be fixed, gathered, or carried forward. Tonight, you are simply allowed to rest. Before sleep arrives, the day will loosen on its own, threads slipping free, one by one. Tonight, the world has already decided to soften. Somewhere beyond your attention, winter has begun its quiet work. This is a guided meditation of winter restoration, a slow unwinding, a return to warmth, a permission to rest deeply, while the season does its quiet healing work around you. Welcome to Under Moon and Stars Guided Sleep Meditations. My name is Shelley, and I'll be guiding you into deep, peaceful sleep tonight. Thank you for being here. A storm moves through this forest, not sharp or restless, but steady. Not to disturb you, but to gather everything into stillness. Rain presses gently against wood and leaf. Thunder drifts far overhead, a whispering rumble, like a reminder that you are not required to stay awake and vigilant any longer. Low and unhurried, rolling across the dark, like something ancient turning in its sleep. Rain falls in long, patient lines, dimming the distance, softening the world. The covered porch of a small cabin stands deep in the winter woods, its wide roof catching the rain before it can reach the boards below. Water drums softly overhead, a steady rhythm that gathers the night inward. Beyond the railing, the forest fades into shadow. Edges dissolve into silver-gray motion. Wet pine and cold earth scent the air. The clean brightness of rain lingers, sharp at first, then calming as it settles. Sound becomes a boundary, the storm creating a protective wall between this place and everything beyond it. Above, the sky hangs low and cloud thick, pressing gently against the treetops. No stars show themselves tonight. The darkness is complete, intentional, protective. Clouds hold the night close, making this small pocket of shelter feel carefully kept. Boards beneath the feet are dry, solid, unmoving. Wood holds the weight easily, as it has through many seasons. Behind, The cabin waits, quiet, warm, unbothered by the storm. A structure that knows how to remain steady while weather passes around it. Nothing asks for attention. Nothing needs to be done. Rain continues its work. The forest breathes slowly. And just beyond the door, warmth gathers, patient, ready, unforced. This moment rests at the threshold between the wild dark and the safety of shelter, between movement and stillness, resting on the edge between the untamed night and a place made just for rest. And for now, that is enough. The door is set deep into the cabin's frame, protected from the storm by thick timber and age-darkened beams. Rain never quite reaches it. Water slides down the roofline instead, dripping from the eaves in patient intervals. Iron rests in the hand, a key worn smooth by years of turning. Its weight is familiar in a way that requires no memory. Metal meets metal, not hurried, not tentative. The lock receives it easily. A soft turn, a sound that lands low and final. The door opens inward. Warmth does not rush out. It stays where it belongs, held close inside the walls. Cedar and old wood breathe gently into the night air, carrying the scent of dry heat and quiet evenings, layered one over another. Stepping across the threshold changes the world immediately. The rain dulls, reduced to a distant presence. Still there, still working, but no longer dominant. The storm releases its hold. The door closes behind, settling into place with a weight that feels deliberate, intentional. A second sound follows, the slide of the bolt, thick, slow, certain. With it, the outside world completes its separation. What remains inside the cabin is stillness, not silence, but a gathered calm. Firelight flickers somewhere deeper within, casting a low amber pulse across the wooden floor. Shadows move without urgency, stretching and softening along the walls. Near the hearth, something shifts. Not movement exactly, or a redistribution of weight. A presence already at rest. Fur dark as charcoal and white as starlight, absorbs the fire's glow rather than reflecting it. A shape curled into itself, breathing slowly, owning the warmth without effort. The cat does not lift its head. No acknowledgement is needed. The low vibration of a purr exists before it is heard, felt first in the floorboards, then the air, a steady frequency, old, assured, the sound of a creature that has never doubted safety in this place. Your breath begins to follow this rhythm with a deep breath in and a long breath out. In and out. In and out. Here, nothing intrudes. The cabin holds its interior like a promise kept. Thick walls, large windows, timber fitted to endure weather without complaint. The storm is allowed to continue, but only as a sound, only as a distant rhythm. This is the crossing, the moment where effort loosens, where vigilance is no longer required, where the body receives confirmation it has arrived somewhere contained. A quiet knowing settles in that rest is permitted now. It arrives naturally, without being asked for. The fire continues its slow conversation. Rain keeps time on the roof. The cat remains perfectly still, teaching by example. The night has closed its circle. Nothing else is expected. The room does not ask to be taken in all at once. It reveals itself gradually, as if aware that rest prefers patience. Firelight settles low, pooling rather than spreading. It gathers near the floor, thickening the air with warmth that feels almost visible, an amber density that presses gently against the shins, the knees, the lower body. Heat does not rise quickly here. It lingers, as if remembering how to move slowly. Weight begins to make itself known now. Boots are not heavy, but the floor beneath them is. Wide planks, anchored deep into the earth below the cabin, accept the body without question. The subtle pull downward grows more noticeable now that nothing resists it. Gravity resumes its quiet work. Nearby, the cat shifts again, a small adjustment, barely perceptible. Fur compresses against cushion and muscle loosens further. The purr deepens, not louder but fuller. A resonance that fills space the way warmth does, spreading without direction. It is not performing rest. It is resting. The sound becomes a steady undertone, a baseline hum beneath the crackle of the fire and the rain's distant hush. The body recognizes it before the mind does. Muscles begin to mirror the ease without instruction. A chair waits close to the hearth. Its shape is generous, not elegant, built for use, for long evenings, for surrender rather than posture. The fabric has been softened by years of contact, wool worn smooth where arms have rested, where shoulders have leaned, where weight has been allowed to arrive fully. Lowering into it happens naturally. The body meets the chair, and the chair responds in kind. Cushion gives, the frame holds. Support rises upward to meet the spine, rather than the body having to search for it. This is where warmth begins to move inward, not as a sensation alone, but as something deeper. A slow unfurling behind the ribs, a gentle loosening around the chest. Breath changes without announcement, lengthening slightly, finding more room. The fire offers its heat patiently. The chair accepts the body's full measure. The cat remains nearby, unmoving, its calm and quiet anchor in the room. Nothing lifts, nothing tightens. Gravity continues, steady and trustworthy, drawing the day out of the muscles, settling it somewhere below thought. The purr keeps time, a reminder, perhaps, that the safest things in the world often require no attention at all. A thought passes through that this weight is not burden, but permission. It passes gently, leaving warmth behind. The cabin breathes. The night holds. The body sinks. The room settles. Not in response to anything new, but because nothing else is asked of it. Firelight slows, its movement barely perceptible now. A low pulse rather than a flicker. Shadows soften further, edges dissolving into one another until the walls feel farther away than they are. The chair continues to hold, quietly adjusting beneath the body's weight. Fabric and frame accept what remains without resistance. Gravity completes its work, drawing the last traces of effort downward, out of reach. Nearby, the cat's purr maintains its steady rhythm. No change in tempo, no pause, a sound that exists outside of time, like breath before language. The vibration spreads easily through the room, settling into the bones, steadying what still moves. Rain persists on the roof, even, patient, unhurried. Each drop arrives and disappears without leaving a mark. The storm no longer announces itself. It has become a background presence, a distant keeper of the night. Here, the air grows thicker, not heavy, just calm. Warmth gathers in the center of the chest, a quiet ember that does not demand attention. It simply stays. Nothing pulls forward, nothing presses back. Thoughts, if they appear at all, move slowly now, softened, indistinct, like shapes seen through rain-streaked glass. They pass without asking to be followed. This is the pause beneath the pause, the space where time loosens its hold, where the body remembers how to rest without instruction. The cabin remains awake just enough to keep watch. The night remains outside doing its work. And inside, everything necessary has already arrived. Beyond the walls of the cabin, the storm continues its long work. Rain thickens in the dark, falling in steady sheets that blur the forest into motion and shadow. It strikes the roof in soft, overlapping rhythms, each drop dissolving the next, creating a continuous veil of sound. The roof receives it all, wood meeting water with quiet endurance. The sky hangs low tonight, pressed down by clouds heavy with winter rain. There's no need for stars. Their absence deepens the darkness, turning the night inward rather than outward. Clouds move slowly overhead, vast and deliberate, carrying weather from one horizon to another. Thunder rolls far above the treetops, distant and unhurried. Not a warning, a reminder of scale. A sound so large, it asks nothing in return. It passes through the sky and continues on, leaving the night calmer in its wake. The forest accepts the storm without resistance. Pines sway gently, their crowns moving together in a slow, ancient rhythm. Rain gathers on needles, travels downward, and releases itself to the soil below. Roots receive the water, drawing it deep into the earth where it will be stored, held, and remembered. Everything outside is busy. The storm cleans, the wind rearranges, the rain carries weight away. Inside the cabin, though, none of this is required. The walls stand firm, timber fitted carefully, seasoned by years of weather. Each log has learned how to hold warmth while allowing the storm to pass freely around it. Sound enters, softened. Cold does not. This small pocket of light remains untouched. There's a quiet comfort in knowing the storm is awake, even while rest deepens here. The weather stands guard, forming a wide circle of rain and shadow that separates this space from the rest of the world. Nothing crosses that boundary tonight. If a thought drifts in that the storm is doing the work so nothing else has to, it lands gently, then fades. The sky holds what does not need to be carried. The rain takes what is ready to be released. Here, stillness remains complete. The cat's purr continues, low and steady, unbroken by thunder or rain. Firelight pulses softly against the walls. Warmth stays gathered at the center of the room. Above, clouds keep watch. Around, rain keeps time. And within, rest deepens, unguarded and whole. Somewhere beyond the fire's reach, deeper within the cabin, warmth has already been gathered. The kettle waits on the stove, heavy iron darkened by years of use. It does not hurry. Heat rises beneath it slowly, patient as the night itself. When it finally speaks, it does so in a low, distant hum, a sound more felt than heard. Steam begins its quiet ascent. It curls upward in pale ribbons, catching firelight as it moves, then dissolving into the darker air above. The room holds the warmth easily, letting it linger without urgency. On the counter, a mug rests within reach, thick-walled, gently worn. Its surface carries the faint texture of glaze and clay, still cool, still waiting. Dried leaves lie ready nearby. Chamomile, lemon balm, fragments of summer preserved for nights like this. The water pours, not quickly, not loudly. A clear, steady stream fills the cup, and the leaves respond at once, releasing their color, their scent, their memory of sunlight. Steam blooms upward, soft and fragrant, a quiet cloud that briefly blurs the edges of the room. The air changes. Sweetness lingers now, warm, herbal, grounding. Breath meets it naturally, drawing it inward without effort. Shoulders soften another fraction. The chest opens just enough to welcome the heat. Hands find the mug. Ceramic holds the warmth generously, offering it without hesitation. Heat travels through the palms along the wrists, easing its way inward. It is not sharp. It does not rush. It settles. The first sip arrives gently. Warmth moves downward, slow and golden, tracing a path through the body, finding places still holding the chill of the storm. It spreads through the chest, the belly, the quiet spaces beneath thought. Internal warmth completes its arc here. The fire remains steady. The storm continues outside. The cat purrs on, untroubled, guardian and guide, without knowing it is either. Nothing more is needed. This, too, is part of winter restoration. The simple act of receiving warmth and allowing it to stay. Time begins to behave differently here. Not suddenly, but gradually. The way light fades without announcing the moment it turns to night. The minutes soften at their edges, losing definition. What once felt sequential now feels wide, layered, unmeasured. The chair remains steady beneath the body. Warmth stays gathered. Nothing shifts position. From here, the window gently exists. Not a frame to look through, but a presence in the room. Glass holds the night just beyond reach. Rain traces slow, wandering paths across it. Lines appearing and vanishing before they can be followed. The storm continues its work without urgency, uncounted, uninterested in clocks. The sky beyond is vast, but indistinct. Cloud presses low and heavy, a racing distance, folding the night inward. Time out there is moving in weather, not minutes. In rainfall and root and soil. In long, patient cycles that do not require attention. Inside, shelves line one wall of the room, barely lit now. Books rest where they have always rested, spines darkened by age and quiet use. They stand close together, holding centuries of mornings and nights, journeys begun and ended, long ago. Nothing inside them needs to be opened. All those hours already lived. All those stories already held. The knowledge rests. The effort has passed. Nearby, the cat's breathing remains slow and even. The purr continues its low, unbroken rhythm, neither beginning nor ending, simply existing. A living metronome that measures time the way the body does, by breath, by warmth, by presence. Here, nothing is late, nothing is waiting. Thoughts, even as they arise, drift through without weight. Time no longer grips tightly enough to hold it. The storm outside absorbs what remains, rain carrying it downward into the earth. The cabin stays awake in the background, holding structure while time loosens its hold. Walls do not mark hours. Firelight does not measure minutes. The night has no expectation. And in this widening quiet, something subtle becomes clear. Not as a realization, but as a feeling settling into place. That it is enough to be here. That nothing needs to be added. That rest does not require permission anymore. Time stretches, then thins, then gently fades into something unmeasured and kind. The night draws closer without moving. It gathers the room the way darkness gathers a field, slowly, evenly, without erasing what is already there. Firelight dims to a steady glow, no longer reaching far, content to remain near. Shadows deepen, folding softly into corners that no longer need definition. The chair continues to hold. The warmth stays. The cat remains curled close, a quiet weight against the side, purrs flowing steadily through the stillness. Rain persists on the roof, no longer distinct drop from drop, just a continuous soothing hush. Thunder has moved far away now, its voice absorbed into the distance. The storm keeps watch from beyond the walls, wide and patient. Inside, nothing stirs. Breath slows on its own, deepening, lengthening, finding an easy rhythm that matches the room. The body settles more completely, releasing what little it still carries. Muscles soften where they hadn't realized they were holding. This is what it feels like to be allowed to rest. Not because everything is finished, not because nothing matters, but because for this moment, nothing is required. being here, just as things are, is already enough. As quiet understanding arrives gently, without needing to be held, the night receives it and keeps it safe. The cat shifts slightly and stills again. The purr continues. The fire breathes low and steady. Here, care is effortless. Here, warmth is shared. Here, there is no edge to press against. The cabin remains awake in the background, timber and roof standing guard, while sleep moves closer. The storm circles wide. The night closes softly, like a blanket settling into place. Nothing pulls forward now. Nothing calls out. Only this warmth. Only this quiet. Only the slow drift into rest. The night has settled fully now. What remains is not emptiness, but a fullness that asks nothing in return. Warmth holds steady. The storm continues beyond the walls, carrying away what no longer needs to be carried. Its gentle rhythm thrumming beyond the walls. Rain keeping time in the dark, while the cabin holds its quiet center. Here, everything moves slowly. Breath finds its own calm pace. Muscles soften without asking. The body rests into the support beneath it, held easily without effort or thought. There's a sense of arrival in this moment, a feeling of being exactly where you are meant to be. Just this quiet presence, complete as it is. And here, in this quiet shelter, something becomes clear. You are allowed to rest because this moment is enough on its own. This time is yours. This solitude is peace. You have always carried warmth within you, even on the coldest nights. Sometimes it takes a fire, a storm, a small circle of safety to remember it. Sometimes it arrives simply because you have paused long enough to feel it. The night holds you now, without expectation. The cabin stands steady. The rain keeps time, and the soft, steady purr beside you continues. A quiet reminder that rest is natural and safety can be shared. The small sounds of the night continue. Rain on wood, fire breathing low, the steady purr nearby, and the distant rumble of thunder. Each one a gentle reassurance, that all is well, that the world is keeping watch while sleep comes closer. There is a softness inside now, an ease that has been waiting patiently. It spreads the way warmth spreads when it is finally received. The night closes gently around you. The cabin remains steady. The storm lingers on, wide and protective. And in this calm, unhurried space, sleep arrives on its own, slow, deep, and peaceful. I wish you well, my friend. I wish you peace, and I'm glad you're here.